Grid is the panel you will work 90% of time with. Grid is essentially a table with rows and columns, so it allows you to put UI elements into certain rows and columns. The number of rows is controlled via the property row definitions. Row definitions collection contains rows which are represented by the class row definition. The number of columns is controlled via the property column definitions. Column definitions collection contains columns which are represented by the class column definition. To put a UI element into a certain cell of a grid, you can define attached properties grid row and grid column. In order to span two rows by a UI element, you can define the attached property grid row span. To span two columns by a UI element, you can define the attached property grid column span. Row definition exposes the height property, and column definition exposes the width property. Both height and width properties are of special type grid length. Mean height and mean width are of type double, and these properties work the same way they work with other UI elements. Grid length can be set to three different, so to speak, types of values. It can be set to a double value, thus fixing either the height or the width. The second option is to set it to auto. In this case, a grid will extend either a row or a column in order to host the widest or the highest UI element. The third option is so-called star sizing. Stars mean proportional sizing. For example, in the code snippet, columns defined their width as 3 star to 4 star to 5 star. That means that the width of columns can be divided into 12 equal parts. The first column takes 3/12, the second takes 4/12, and the third takes 5/12. A proportional sized row or column grows and shrinks as the grid is resized, taking into account proportional ratios. Okay, let's take a brief look at grid in a short demonstration.